In 2024, a crime drama called The Order was released. The movie stars a veteran FBI agent played by Jude Law tracking a splinter white supremacy group in the Pacific Northwest who have been robbing banks. The story is based off actual events in the group who are called The Order. The Order are basically building a war chest so they can ultimately start a revolution and ultimately overtake the US federal government. Now, in general, I thought this movie was pretty good, although I did think it lacked suspense and drama. And the actors, I thought, didn't quite have the screen presence we've seen in other films. Still, though, I thought it was incredibly well shot and set in an interesting time period, which I thought added to the story. Now, in this review, I'm going to break down both the good and bad of The Order, which is currently right now on Hulu. Now, to start with the bad, I didn't think the actors or characters in this movie were particularly intriguing. Critics praised them for their performance, but I didn't think so much. They weren't terrible by any means, but the characters I thought were very basic and also one-dimensional. The supporting cast, I guess you could say they did okay, but the main characters just didn't have the screen presence needed. In particular, the lead bad guy, Bob Matthew, played by Travis Holt. In my opinion, it looks like they picked him for his looks, as he's not the least bit intimidating, and I just don't think he plays the white supremacist well. I understand this might have made it more realistic to what Bob Matthew actually looked like, but it didn't create that fear or drama we see in some of these types of movies. Now, in comparing this movie to Imperium, another movie, this came out in 2016, and it featured an undercover FBI agent joining a white supremacy group. Well, Imperium is just better. The acting with Daniel Radcliffe and Toni Collette I thought was top notch, and also in that movie, we see Radcliffe go undercover and really get a much better perspective of this, the demented white supremacy world. There's constant tension and fear that Radcliffe is going to be discovered, and in addition, if he doesn't deliver, there's a possibility a dirty bomb is going to be released in Washington, D.C. In The Order, it feels like there were just a couple of basic crime events that happened up in the Pacific Northwest. This group, they were inspired by the Turner Diaries, and, well, some filmmaker just decided, hey, let's make a movie about it. And the threat and tension just isn't there in that movie, that they're actually going to do something, they're actually going to cause a lot of harm. Now, one final thing I have to point out too is that at the end of the film, it says that the Capitol riots on January 6th were inspired by the Turner Diaries at the end of the film. Now, this is just laughably stupid. Do they really think people were out there that day because they had read the Turner Diaries? They also claim, too, it was an insurrection. But look, even if you believe that, do you think that the people out there that day were there because they read the Turner Diaries and they weren't out there because of the 2020 election? So that really was stupid and bothered me at the end of the movie. I don't know why they had to put something like that in. Still, that said, there is some good things in this movie, and it's probably worth checking out. For one, it had some good action scenes, several in fact, although most were just kind of car chases and shootouts. Also, the movie was very well shot and had some really beautiful scenery up in the Pacific Northwest. In general, it just looked good throughout. In addition to this, the setting, costumes, hairstyles, and behavior, I thought, pretty well reflected the early 80s, I thought. In general, it's an above average film, a 7 out of 10, and maybe something to watch on a rainy day.